this morning. I know we had a faculty meeting. I can see all these lovely, bright, shining faces this morning. That's all right. I'm on the beach here, so I can see every one of y'all that came in. This is something that we just need to revisit every now and then. When this is our faculty meeting norms. Well, we'll change that. That's 3:45 to 7:50. Stay on topic. Not use our cell phones. Not grade papers. We will express positive and constructive comments. Attentively participate. Respectful of others. And if we miss the meeting, we'll watch the makeup video and skip the faculty. So we have a 3-day window on that. So I just wanted to revisit that. And I'll put on there no sleeping too. When we get sleeping, we need to stand up. But pretty much this is the agenda. And you have to remember, if you didn't get it, a lot of things are on Google Classroom for us, and I'm still learning it. You know, I'm still adjusting. I'm from the old school of deficit in technology still. So I'm working on it. A lot of this stuff will be on Google Classroom, and I'll let Ms. Ingram talk more about that. But it tells you who you are and where you need to go. And we got CDL going on, we got book discovery going on, and if you look at it, just tell you who you are and where you need to go. Then lunch from 11:30 to 1, and then parent involvement, those of you. But for the rest of us, for the rest of you that really doesn't have things to do, you got a list of things that we can work on and catch up. Use today to do that. If you need to update grades in Infinite Campus, any ZAP forms with zeros, if you need to make any contacts, if you hadn't signed your TEACS thing, if you're one of the CDL people that have not practiced so we can get ready for that test. And by the way, those of us that the CDL people starting next week, we're supposed to do in our planning period. We go in the PLC room and pull up that website so we can practice those tests. I know there's apps out there, but when we start doing on our own, we kind of drop off because our testing attempts have kind of dropped off. So starting next week, if you have not passed your test, doing your plan, you need to be in the PLC room taking those practice tests so we can get that done. The deadline that Dr. Hinton said has come and gone, and when she asked me how we making progress, that's what I need to tell her. So anything up here that you need to do to catch up on, you can do that today. And today in Google Forms, there's a, can you pull it up? Does anyone kind of explain that? Because we have to document what we did today. So you go to Google Classroom and pull up your,
it's the last thing.
Pull up your in-service day sheet, and you pretty much put your name and then whatever you did today, based on that list that I just gave you. All right, and it's in Google. Yes, ma'am.
All right, so at the bottom of the agenda it said 8:30 to 11:30. So that's the
That's
only
still
time.
lunch.
Okay.
That's still lunch, and then after lunch, continue until we have our 3 o'clock.
I was just making sure.
Right.
So everything we do up until
So that,
our
right,
faculty.
right. Okay. All right. Any questions on that?
We print and turn that in hard copy, or we save it on the?
No, as soon as it's assigned to each person, so once you fill it out, it just comes, it saves and comes to us.
Yeah, you don't have to print it. You just fill it out on Google.
Can you hit share up there? Is that what you want to do with
Turn in. Let's say turn in.
I turn. Yes, once you pull it up and you fill it in, after you get done filling it out, you don't have to share it with anyone. Once you fill it out and then go back to your page, it's just going to say turn it in. You'll have a little blue button.
Just hit turn in. That's it.
You just hit turn in and it goes straight in.
Okay.
I saw turn in this morning when I was trying to find it, and I hit turn in this morning. So I ain't even, I don't know what I was doing. Oh, it's all good. I just didn't know what I was doing. So I'm still trying to learn this Google stuff. All right, let's talk about, real quick, the reason I called this morning meeting, I want to address IEPs and 504s. We got a situation, and I don't know, at the beginning of the year, I know Ms. Hilson meets with all the 504 teachers, and we go over the 504s, and we must know the 504 children is in our class, and we must familiarize ourselves with their accommodations that they need, that's stated in their 504 plan. And that's something, and I went away from this word, but I'm gonna bring it back. It's a non-negotiable. Because if you violate a 504 plan, then you've got the OCR, which is the Office of Civil Rights, can come, and you're gonna have some real problems, okay? Because we have to be familiar with the 504 plan, and we have to abide by the accommodations that's listed on the 504 plan. Sometimes I think we think if we don't agree with something, then we don't have to do it. It doesn't matter if we agree with it or not. It doesn't matter if it says something about the student, and you're looking at the student and you think, well, that's not, they don't need that on the 504. It don't matter. We have to abide by the 504. So what we're gonna do real quick is we're gonna look at just some real quick, all right, we're gonna look at real quick the difference between IEP and a 504, so that we can make sure that we completely understand what they are. So basically, what we're gonna do, so I'm not doing all the reading, we just go around the room, and then I want somebody with the basic description of an IEP. We read the IEP and the 504, and then we'll rotate until we finish.
Would you mind hitting Control Plus on the keyboard real quick?
Yeah, Control Plus.
Yes, sir. That's good right there. Y'all good with that?
Yeah.
Everybody see that? All right. Because it's imperative that we know the difference, and it's imperative that we refresh our understanding of IEP. Most of your IEPs, which is your individual education plan, most of your IEPs are managed by our special ed teachers. Is that correct? Special ed. So that's where most of your IEPs are kept up with. Your 504 plans, however, we have what I'll call Ms. Hilson, the 504 coordinator. However, she lets you know who your students are that have 504s, and it's up to you because you deal with them every day to make sure that 504 plan is not violated. Am I on track? So it's important for us to know the difference between the two. All right, so let's just start over there, and we'll just start basic description and just.
All right, basic description of an IEP, a blueprint or plan for a child's special education experience at school. 504 plan, a blueprint or plan for how a child will have access to learning at school.
All right, any questions about the difference? Really simple. All right, next.
IEP provides individualized special education and related services to meet the unique needs of the child. These services are provided at no cost to parents. The 504 provides services and changes to the learning environment to meet the needs of the child as adequately as other students. As with IEPs, the 504 plan is provided at no cost to parents.
Okay. Right.
This is a federal special education law for children with disabilities. Then you have section 504, I assume that's why it's called 504.
Correct.
Of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. This is a federal civil rights law to stop discrimination. Like, man, I'm not a language teacher. Against people with disabilities.
Okay, any questions on that? All right, who is eligible?
To get an IEP, there are two requirements. One, the child has to have one or more than 13 specific disabilities listed in IDEA. Learning and attention issues may qualify. The disability must affect the child's educational performance and or his ability to learn and benefit from the general education curriculum leading to the need for specialized instruction. For a 504 plan, there are two requirements. The child has any disability which can include many learning or attention issues. Two, the disability must interfere with the child's ability to learn in general education classrooms. Section 504 has a broader definition of disability than IDEA. It says that a disability must substantially limit one or more basic life activities such as learning, and that's why a child who doesn't qualify for an IEP might still be able to get a 504 plan.
Okay, see the, kind of see the difference. All right, independent education and evaluation.
Let's see, parents can ask the school district to pay for an independent educational evaluation, IEE, by outside experts. The district doesn't have to agree. Parents can always pay for an outside evaluation themselves, but the district may not give it much weight. For the 504, it doesn't allow parents to ask for an IEE. Out of an IEP evaluation, parents can always pay for an outside evaluation themselves.
Okay. Because with the IEP, there is an evaluation that goes on. And y'all, especially as teachers, y'all jump in here. There is evaluation that goes on, and that's how the students are determined whether they need an IEP or not. For the 504, it's not, an evaluation is not needed. It could be a parent request or something that they feel like their child is affecting their education, so they request a 504 plan.
But they still have to have documentation from a doctor.
But they still have to have documentation from a doctor. So in those 504 plans, no matter what we see or our eyes are telling us, if a student has a 504 plan, they do have documentation from a doctor that they need that 504 plan. And that's even more the reason why we cannot violate it. All right, who creates the program and the plan? All right, real quick.
With an IEP, there are strict legal requirements about participants. An IEP created by an IEP team must include the child's parent, at least one of the child's general education teachers, at least one special education teacher, school psychologist, or other specialist who can interpret evaluation results, a district representative with authority over special education services. With a few exceptions, the entire team must present for IEP meetings.
Okay.
With 504, the rules about who meets on 504 team are less specific than they are for the IEP. For a 504 plan is created by a team of people who are familiar with the child and who understand the evaluation data and special services options. This might include the child's parent, general and special education teachers, and school principal.
All right, what is in the program and the plan?
The IEP gets learning goals for a child and describes the services that the school will give her. It's a written document. Here are some of the most important things. It must include the child's present level of academic and functional performance, how she or he is currently doing in school, annual education goals for the child, and how the school will back progress, the services the child will get. This may include special education related supplementary and extended school year services. The timing of services, when they start, how often they occur, and how long they will last. Any accommodations, which changes to the child's learning environment. Any modifications, which changes to what the child is expected to learn or know. How the child will participate in standardized tests. How the child will be included in general ed classes and school activities. 504, There is no standard 504 plan unlike an IEP. A 504 plan doesn't have to be a written document. A 504 plan generally includes the following: specific accommodations, supports or services for the child, names of who will provide each service, and the name of the person responsible for ensuring the plan is implemented.
All right, parent notice.
When the school wants to change a child's services or placement, it has to tell parents in writing before they change. This is called prior written notice. Notice is also required for any IEP meetings and evaluations. Parents also have stay put rights to keep services in place while there's a dispute. 504, the student must notify parents about evaluations or a significant change in placement. Notice doesn't have to be in writing, but most schools do so anyway.
Parents consent.
An IEP must review the IEP.
A parent must consent in writing for the school to evaluate a child. Parents must also consent to writing before the school can provide services in an IEP. 4504, parents' consent is required for the school district to evaluate a child.
How often is it reviewed and revised? I know that it's reviewed, I know the IEP is reviewed once a year because I sit in enough meetings and that's a question that's always asked. And then it must be evaluated every 3 years to determine if it continues, is that correct? And same as the 504. Each year, the evaluation is done every 3 years at one meeting. All right. How to resolve disputes. Okay, we have several ways for the IEP. It's the due process complaint, resolution session, civil lawsuit, state complaint, or lawsuit. If you've never been in a IDA meeting when there's a dispute over an IEP, I sat in one, that was years ago. I was sitting in for the principal, and I was assistant principal. That's a whole, you don't even want to be in one of those. Ms. Conwell was the superintendent, and I was sitting right next to her, and that attorney wasn't trying to hear nothing. And all I know is that after that meeting, that student had his own personal paraprofessional. Yeah, his own, when we got through with that meeting, he had his own personal paraprofessional. And that's how, so you don't ever want to be in one of those meetings where it's one of these complaints. 504, mediation, dispute resolution, impartial hearing, complaint. These are the people that you don't want to deal with. Office of Civil Rights. Last year I had a letter from the Office of Civil Rights on me saying that I was punishing kids because they were not saying the pledge. And you know, so a parent makes the complaint that Washington County High School is punishing or violating my child's civil rights because the Supreme Court said that they don't have to say the pledge. Well, they're punishing students for saying the pledge. Well, that was an easy fix because we were not. But that didn't stop a person from filing the complaint. And then the letter coming down, and then of course we had to answer it. Were you gonna say something? Oh, I don't know if you had your hand up. Okay. Oh, okay, okay. And then lawsuit. Okay. Then lawsuit. So you need, that's why I felt it was important for us to kind of give a refresher on this and take it a step further. Of course, funding, you receive services at no cost. For these folks right here, you can't use these funds for this